Here in Harambe, we don't like to say, we like to say Twente, which means let's go. Jambo, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Michelle. I'm going to be your safari guide. Just as a few safety reminders, I do need everybody fully in their seats, facing forward with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Make sure you guys like the seats that you have chosen, because that is your spot for the entirety of our journey. There is absolutely no standing, passing anybody back and forth, or musical chairs from this point on. If you look up above you, you'll see the animal spotting guide that has all the different creatures that we might be able to find on our journey. And while we might not be able to see all of them due to their migration patterns, we usually get pretty lucky. If you're planning on taking pictures, make sure cameras are out and ready as well, as I will be unable to stop for every single one of these animals, and I promise they will not stop for us. Speaking of personal belongings, make sure everything stays on the inside of this vehicle at all times. If you happen to drop something off the side of the truck, I will not be able to retrieve it for you, but do let us know. We'll try to get it back to you. Just can't promise it'll come back in the same condition that you left it in. Looks like we're getting that clearance from the warden, so we're heading on into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. The very first stop on our trip is going to be the Little Ituri Forest. This forest is known for all of the natural camouflage that it gives all of its inhabitants. For the safety of our animals and the safety of ourselves, please do not yell, call out, or make any noises at these creatures, as I promise they will not respond. Looks like we got a little bit of activity on both sides of us. Over on the right, behind some of the bamboo, or right in between the bamboo over there, you've got one of the okapi. Those okapi might look like they're closely related to the zebras, given the stripes on their legs and hindquarters, but they're actually closer related to the giraffe. Over on this left-hand side, coming towards the other side of the bamboo, out in the middle over here on the left, you might see that large black and white bird. It's one of the saddle-billed stork. They get their name from the yellow part of their beak that's shaped like an English riding saddle. They can stand up to about 5 feet tall and have a wingspan up to 9 feet across. A lot of the animals in the forest do use their natural camouflage to hide away really well from us, so we do have to keep our eyes peeled for any movement that might be in the area. Looks like they are going to be a little hard to see coming up this hill on this left-hand side. There's a little bit of movement from one of the black rhinoceros. These black rhinos can weigh up to about 3,000 pounds, and they can charge up to 35 miles an hour. Starting to walk away from us. As you turn this corner on this left-hand side, we're also going to see 2 different types of antelope. In between the rock wall and the bamboo, as we come around the corner, you'll be able to see those darker brown colored animals with the horns. Those are the bongo. Both the male and female have those horns that they use to navigate through dense brush. We also have some of these lighter beige colored animals out here on the left. Those are some of the greater kudu, second tallest antelope at about 55 inches tall from hoof to shoulder. The greater kudu, bongo, and the okapi all share very similar stripes on their bodies, and the stripes act as their camouflage and mimics the sunlight coming through the trees, bamboo, and other foliage. Heading out of the forest, we are now headed towards the Safi River, and this river is home to some of our most powerful animals. We're going to see if we can spot all of them as we make our way through, but keep your eyes in the water. We might be able to find some shadowy figures moving around underneath. We do see some of these large white birds in the middle island here first. These are some of the pink-backed pelicans. They get their name from the shade of pink that their skin turns during mating. Also one of the larger colonial birds that can be a nest of up to 500 pairs. I see a little bit of movement a little bit further down in the water over here. Like I said, we're looking out for more of those shadowy figures. They do like to hug right up against these rock walls, so sometimes they are a little hard to find or see in the area. I did see one of them in the water. As soon as we turn this corner, might be able to see them from this guardrail. It is going to be really hard to see, and I still need everybody fully in their seats. Just a little hard to see them over this guardrail here on the left. We'll see if anybody else is hanging out near these waterfalls. Just a little too hard to see them, but there is some Nile hippopotamus down there in the water. As we come across this bridge on this left-hand side, we're also going to see some of the Nile crocodile down here. These Nile crocodile are extraordinarily powerful animals. They have a bite that's about 2,000 pounds per square inch. And that bite of theirs is bone crushing. These animals can weigh up to about 500 pounds. They can eat up to half their body weight in one sitting. Most of their diet consists of fish. They can also chomp on just about anything that crosses their path. That includes some of the smaller hippos and larger antelopes as well. Heading out of the Safi River, we are now headed towards the Savannah. And the Savannah is home to some of our largest and most popular animals. All the animals here in the Savannah have their own place in the ecosystem, whether they're big or small, so it is very important to conserve each and every one of them, no matter their size. As we come around this corner over on this right-hand side, you'll also be able to see this massive tree. This is one of the baobab trees, also known as the upside down tree, given all those branches up top look like their roots. They can remain leafless up to 9 months out of the year, and they do that to conserve their moisture during the dry season. These massive trunks is where they house the moisture. They house all the moisture on the inside of those trunks. We are coming down now into the Savannah. We get a great view from up on top of this hill. It looks like we got a bit of activity out here. We're going to see if we can get any closer encounters with these animals. I just want to remind everybody that some of these animals are startled by loud noises. Make sure we're not yelling or calling out to them, especially when we're really up close and personal. We definitely don't want to scare some of these animals away. You'll notice as you look across the Savannah that all of our grass looks like it's been freshly mowed, and all of our trees look like they've all been trimmed up to a very specific mark, and that is the work of all of the animals that inhabit the Savannah. All of the hoofstock, like the zebra we're about to see, they'll take care of kind of mowing the grass for us, while those giraffes work together to trim those trees up to about that 20-foot mark that you see just overhead. We're getting a little bit closer to those zebras here. Be able to see them kind of out in the middle here. Once you turn this corner, there's a few more that we're going to get a little bit closer to. But the zebras we see here on the reserve are some of the Hartman's mountain zebra. They're the only type of zebra that have an extra flap of skin underneath their jaw called a dewlap. The dewlap helps with a little bit of extra blood flow. It helps them to regulate their body temperatures. It helps keep them cool, especially during the warmer months. It's a huge help to those animals. Getting a little bit closer to those zebras there on that right-hand side. As we turn this corner over on the left, we're also going to be able to see some of the white-bearded wildebeest a little bit closer to us, and back towards the tree line as we come past that really large bush there, you'll be able to see some of the sable antelope back there as well. The sable antelope uses their swept back horns as a way to keep their backs protected from any predators. And the white-bearded wildebeest that are a little bit closer to us are the second most densely populated mammal on Earth, second only to us humans. They can be groups of up to tens of thousands of them and travel up to about 1,000 miles here. Closer to those zebra there on that right-hand side. We're about to get really close to those giraffes as well. No two stripe patterns are the same on the zebra. You can actually identify them based on just their stripe patterns alone. Kind of acts as a full body fingerprint for those zebras. Getting a little bit closer to those giraffe now on this right-hand side. We'll get our first close glimpse of the giraffe. Those giraffes can stand 18 to 20 feet tall. They use those really long prehensile tongues to reach all those leaves on the trees. The tongues can reach up to about 18 inches long. Their saliva makes their tongues pretty sticky, and they move a bit like our fingers do. That's how they're able to easily grab onto a lot of those leaves. The tongues of the giraffe, however, are a little bit of a different color than our human tongue. They're kind of a dark purple sort of shade. The dark purple coloration helps keep their tongues protected from the sunlight as they eat for about 20 hours out of their day. One of our juvenile giraffe over on this right. There are 9 different species of giraffe. The ones that we see out here are some of the Maasai giraffe. We can tell them apart from the other types given their spots. The spots of the Maasai giraffe have jagged edges on each side. You might have noticed some of the tall structures in the area. We got some more of them, but these ones are a little bit more worn down. These are some of the termite mounds here on either side of us over here too. Those termite mounds are formed from the dung of the animals and the saliva of the termites. They can be about as hard as concrete once they dry. Larger animals, just like these giraffe, will use them like scratching posts. They rub against them until they wear them down. Once they do get worn down, the smaller animals will then use the termite mounds like lookout spots to be able to spot any potential threats that may be in the area. A little bit closer to a few more of those giraffe there on that left. For that right hand side, we're going to see another one up on this left hand side in just about well. Got a few of them even sitting down in the area, which is super rare to see. Those giraffe only sit down when they're really comfortable with their surroundings.
Oh, there's 2.
Like I mentioned, these are the Maasai giraffe. We can tell them apart from their spots. Their spots are kind of jagged on each side. Other types of giraffe, like the reticulated, you'll see over at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, their spots are a little bit more solid and squared compared to these Maasai giraffe. You got a few more of these down trees and branches in the area. That's usually a good indication that we're heading into some elephant territory. Looks like we are going to be able to see them here on just the other side of this middle patch of trees. At least our first swim, so we'll try again and see if we might get a better view of them on that right hand side, about halfway up that hill. So that elephant does look like they're all by themselves, and that's usually a good indication that it is a male elephant. Once they hit adulthood, they kind of get kicked out of their original herds. They typically lead a life of solitude after that, but if they happen to form any of their bonds in their adulthood with other males, they're in loose herds called bachelor herds. Got another quick glimpse of that male over there. That is actually our oldest and largest over there. The elephants are also facing habitat loss from a mineral called coltan. That coltan is mined in their habitats, pushing them further and further into human territory, which is not safe or ideal for anybody involved. Coltan is put into small electronic batteries like your cell phones, laptops, or tablets. So if you're looking to upgrade to the next newest model, you're going to help our animal friends out quite a bit. Make sure you recycle the old one. Electronics are pretty hard to recycle on their own, however, so a lot of the major companies have started recycling programs where you can either send them back in the mail or take them back to their stores and they'll take care of the process for you. We're coming into a little bit more of this red clay on either side. Looks like I see a few elephant tracks down below. And it looks like some tusk marks in the red clay coming up on the right. It's usually a good indication that there may be even more elephants up ahead of us. Let's see if we might be able to catch up with any more. Looks like there's a little bit of movement out there, so we'll see if we can catch up with them. Those elephants will actually eat the red clay. It has a form of minerals that they need for their diet in order to stay healthy. By using those tusks, they break up that red clay into their mouths to get all of that nutrient that they need. see them a little bit over these bushes here on this left-hand side, but once we get around to the other side of these trees, we'll get an even better look at some of those elephants that are out there. I mentioned earlier how the male elephants kind of get kicked out of their original herds once they hit adulthood. Oh, the females will stay with their herd for life. The oldest one's leading them. But she knows all the best spots for everything that they need. As we come to the other side of these bushes here, we'll get to see them a little bit better. There's a few of them down towards the water as well. As we make our way forward, you'll also be able to see one of the elephants kind of throwing some of that mud or dirt onto their backs. These animals have very sensitive skin, just like us humans do. By throwing that mud, dirt, or sand on their backs helps keep their skin protected, like a natural sunblock. The one that's doing that over there is actually our youngest. She's about 5 years old. She's still a lot smaller than everybody else. Every once in a while you'll see them flapping their ears as well. Those animals are able to cool themselves down up to about 15 degrees with a few flaps of those ears. They have major blood vessels in and around them to help them to cool off. We also have a few more of the baobab or upside down trees in the area out here. A lot of animals, especially the elephants, rely on these trees for all that moisture, water housed on the inside of those trees. A lot of animals will strip the bark off the sides of those trees to get at that water. These trees actually get another nickname, the tree of life, from some of that reliance. You might actually be able to see some of the stripping off the sides of these trees coming up too. See if we might be able to get another glimpse of that elephant that was right next to the water down here. I might have to look behind us a little bit. She's just a little too far behind those trees back there, but you might catch a slight glimpse of her from over here. I do have some of the greater flamingo just up ahead. Once we get around this corner, we do have some animals in and out of the road, so that's why we're going a little bit slow through here. We are going to be able to see those flamingos in just a moment. The greater flamingos are the ones that we see here on the reserve. The greater flamingo are the largest species of flamingo. Even though they are the largest, they only get up to about 9 pounds. The greater flamingo will get their coloration from all the beta carotene in their diet from the brine shrimp that they eat. But it does take about a year to a year and a half to get that full, all over, bright pink color. Before they get that pink color, they will have a dark gray on their feathers. They still haven't quite gotten the all over pink. Some of our youngest have the most gray. The ones that do still have a bit of gray on their feathers, like I said, are some of the youngest here on the reserve. They were born in June. They're about the same size as the adults, but they are a little bit younger than them. And a group of flamingos like we see out here is also called a flamboyance. Across the water there on the other side, you'll be able to see the stripping or the missing bark off of those trees, and we'll also be able to see a little bit of those elephants out there as well. As we turn this next corner, coming up on this left-hand side, looks like we got a lot of movement over here. The first animals we're going to see a little bit closer to us are going to be some of the white rhino. There's also some ostriches moving around over here near some of the mud pits or mud wallows. A lot of animals rely on these mud wallows as a way to stay cool during the warmer months. Most commonly in the area, animals just like those rhinos will use them not only as a way to stay cool, but it helps keep their skin protected as well, like a natural sunblock for them too. I'll get a little bit closer to those ostriches here in a few seconds. The white rhinos are a little bit larger than the black rhinoceros we saw earlier. These white rhinos can weigh up to about 5,000 pounds. They're also named for their wide mouths. The Afrikaans word for wide is wyd. After a bit of mispronunciation, they just call them white rhino instead. We got some of those ostriches getting a little bit closer to us here on the left. These ostriches can run up to about 40 miles an hour, and they use their massive wings as a way to change direction, make sharp turns. As we make our way forward, keep your eyes peeled out in the hills coming up on the left. You might be able to find some animals using their natural camouflage to hide away really well from us. It looks like I see a few of them up ahead. They're still going to be super hard to see though. Still really hard to see coming up on this left-hand side. In between the last two trees and over this last patch of bushes, you'll see one of them laying down over there. There's one of the cheetahs. She's in a really weird spot, so I'm going to go real slow for you guys to catch a glimpse of them. Those cheetahs are the fastest land mammal. They can travel up to about 60 miles an hour in about 3 seconds, but they can only go that fast for a short distance before they overheat and kind of tire out. They also have those little black strips right next to their eyes, and that helps them to be able to see better during the day. They are one of the only big cats that hunt during the day, so they need that extra bit of protection, kind of like their own personal pair of sunglasses built right into their face. This large rock formation on the left is called a kopie. If the kopie looks familiar to you, that's exactly what Pride Rock is. I don't see any movement up here at the kopie just yet. We're going to try again on the far side, see if you might have better luck over there. Over on this right-hand side, we're actually going to see two different animals over here. The smaller antelope with the horns over here is one of the bontebok. Those animals are actually extinct out in the wild, so a reserve like ours is the only place you'll be able to see one of those. The one that's a little bit further up the hill is one of the waterbuck, very fond of water, just as their name suggests. Once they find their source, they don't tend to stray too far from it. They are pretty sedentary around their water, and they're known to drink an unusually large amount for their body size, too. And we're going to keep our fingers crossed. I still don't see any movement out here. Sometimes they like to hide at the very, very edge, so we'll see if anybody's up here. Looks like there is a male lion up on the rocks here. He's facing away from us. We're not going to get a great view of his face, but he is up there. Those lions do sleep for about 20 hours out of their day, so it is pretty common to see them taking naps or lounging around up on top of the rocks like we see up here. The females are the ones who typically do most of the hunting for their pride. The males will stay back, keep their cubs safe from any potential threats that may be in the area. They are primarily nocturnal hunters. They see 6 times better than us humans do at night, and they use those massive paw pads at the bottom of their feet to help aid in a silent approach upon their prey. The roars of the lions can also be heard up to about 5 miles away. You can actually hear them anywhere in the park if you listen closely enough. You just don't do that very often. A few more of those rhinos through the trees and bushes there on the right-hand side. You might have seen them earlier, but it looks like one of our youngest is over there. We got to see those ostriches a little bit ago, but it looked like their nest was coming up. It's going to be a little hard for everybody to see. I still need everybody fully in their seats, but right next to the truck here on the right-hand side. My friends on the right are going to be the ones that are able to see them. Those are some of the ostriches' eggs. The ostrich eggs are the largest type of egg. They can weigh up to about 3 pounds. That's about as much as 2 dozen chicken eggs. Female ostriches will share the same nest. It is a communal one. dominant female eggs usually have the centerpiece. Everybody else is just around hers. Nest chicks are also pretty strong, and adults can typically stand right on top of that pretty case. Right on the very edge of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, we have one of the warden's posts. Here, the warden and his team will take care of looking after the reserve as a whole, as well as taking care of a group of Nigerian dwarf goats. You'll see our first one coming down that hill there on the left. We'll see if anybody else is on this far side, maybe trying to stay in some of the shade. They also have that large yellow box that's hanging right out front, and I'll talk about the yellow box in just a moment. But these Nigerian dwarf goats help with a lot of conservation efforts here in Africa. These small animals offer their owners milk. From that milk, they make all sorts of milk products like butter and cheese that they'll then be able to sell as a way to profit off of those small animals instead of the wildlife around them. That large yellow box that we pointed out back there is also one of the beehive boxes. They're put up around farmland here in Africa as a way to keep elephants away from land. That was something that was found by the Disney conservation team. They found that elephants are afraid of the sound of bees, so by putting up those beehive boxes, they were able to save a lot of the elephants from the potential poaching they may have faced from some of the angry farmers. The farmers then get to keep a lot of the crops that would have otherwise been trampled, and they also get to profit off of the honey of the bees as well. So it is a nice little win-win for everybody involved. Right on the very edge of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, we're heading back towards the village, which means our safari will be coming to a close in just a few moments. If you didn't get to see your favorite animal on today's journey, be sure to come back again and see us again soon. No two safaris are ever the same. Those animals do make sure of that. For any wilderness explorers on board, you guys are on the Simba 1. That is S-I-M-B-A, like the lion, and the number 1. You'll be able to pick up those badges just around the corner from the exit. You'll see somebody in a green shirt with a bright orange bag, and that's where you're going to be able to pick up those badges. It's going to be on page 1415 of that Wilderness Explorers packet. So we do need the code name once again. It's Simba 1. If you're looking to head back towards the village, you're going to go up the hill from the exit and turn to your left past the merchandise stand. That's going to be your pathway that takes you back to the restrooms, the rest of the park. Everything else is going to be back out that way. For strollers, we do have 2 different stroller parking lots. The first one you're going to come across is at the top of the hill. That's where they stand by strollers. If you were in Lightning Lane and you left those strollers out front, they're going to still be out front, so you're going to go back down towards the village up the hill to your left, and you'll find them at the bottom of the hill from there. If you're looking to see some more animals while you're here with us in Harambe, make sure you check out Gorilla Falls. It is going to be on your exit at the very top of the hill on the right-hand side. You'll see the entrance over there to the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. You'll be able to see some of the gorillas, meerkats, naked mole rats, and they even have a hippo viewing pool over there where you can see some of those hippos walk around underneath the water. They also have more okapi and zebra over there. You can get a little bit of a closer look and learn a little bit more about that as well. We are just about ready to unload here, friends. Now's a perfect time to start gathering those personal belongings. Anything that you brought aboard with you, make sure you grab it and take it off. Double check your pockets as well. It was a pretty bumpy ride out there. I don't want you guys to forget anything on my truck and have it go on another safari without you. Make sure we're staying fully in our seats until we come to a full and complete stop up here at the unloading area. If you are interested in any of the animal attractions throughout Animal Kingdom, just know that they do close a little bit earlier than the rest of the park. The walking trails, as well as us here at Kilimanjaro Safaris, will all be closing at 4:45. Make sure you guys check out those animal attractions before then. And it looks like we are just about ready to unload here, friends. We're just waiting for that clearance from the warden. Here in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. It is far too sad and far too final. Here instead we say Kwaherini, which means to go well. So go well, go wild.